And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas,
where we talk about all your favorite scary movies.
This week we are discussing Carrie. Carrie was adapted from Stephen King's novel Carrie, which was published in 1974, and the movie came out in 1976, so very quick turnaround. It was directed by Brian De Palma, screenplay by Lawrence D. Cohen, and it stars Sissy Spacek as Carrie.
And John Travolta.
Yeah.
And that was the only other person I think I recognized.
Yeah, I didn't really recognize anybody.
Do you know who the teacher was? I don't remember who she was.
No, I haven't been really noting anyone. I've just kind of been noting, like, the main character cast. Or if it's, like in this case, like, she is Carrie. So I wrote down her name.
Yeah,
but I didn't
I do not.
I should have probably written down Mom's name, too, because Mom also was up for an Oscar.
For this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So was
We were just talking about horror movies
Carrie
getting overlooked.
Won the Oscar
Really?
for this movie.
I'm gonna have to look that up. We were just talking. We were just talking about in our last one about horror movies being overlooked in the Oscars, which they have been in recent memory. But I guess maybe I was a little bit wrong.
Well, we know, like, Silence of the Lambs, which is more, like,
bunch.
thrillery territory. Yeah. So I think it definitely depends on the movie, but certainly more recently, that's been the trend.
Yeah. Very interesting. And Brian De Palma, fun fact, I realized this later, directed Mission Impossible 1.
I saw that when I was looking it up.
I love that movie.
I knew you'd love that.
I know. I was like, because I recognized the name. Yeah, he had a bunch of, Scarface, I think, was
I saw that too.
The Untouchables, which is like a classic.
Also, I looked it up. She was nominated for
She was nominated. Okay.
But still.
Sick. That's awesome. 2
noms.
You said this was 76?
Yeah, the movie came out in 76.
Got it. And yeah, young Travolta was in it.
Yeah, we did not know that. And when he came on screen, we lost our minds a little bit.
I love seeing him in anything, especially when I don't expect him to be in it.
It brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
Especially the new commercials he has, where he has that bald-ass head.
Oh, yeah, it looks great.
He looks amazing. Like, this is his best look in years, or maybe ever. And the first time he popped up in that commercial, I literally lost my mind.
We can do an episode just on John Travolta. He's awesome.
I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be horror themed. It would just be a pro.
No, I think I saw something recently where people were talking about how he's like, just like actually super talented.
Well, he's one of those people you wouldn't think he would be for some reason. I just was never like, oh, he's great.
Yeah, I think maybe he hasn't.
It's the grease of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was that he when given the right director is just is incredible. Like, it's just like lightning in a bottle. But there's just been so many bad picks from him, I guess. But like I said, once he picks something good, like, or the right director, something that just works for him, you end up just getting like magic. Mm-hmm.
I just think I don't like lead romance John Travolta.
Yeah, I agree.
That does not work.
No,
for me.
We want Pulp Fiction John Travolta.
Just like we want side character Brad Pitt.
Yeah, agreed.
I actually want leading man Brad Pitt also because I like to look at him. But
character actor.
But like, in terms of talent, we want
just so everyone knows that Brad Pitt is a amazing character actor trapped in a leading man's body. And if he just looked just a little less hot, his career would be even better. Although it is still good. We've seen glimpses. They gotta give him a nice little neck scar, try to make him a little less attractive, and that's when he really shines.
It's Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
is everything.
Fantastic. 12 Monkeys, Brad Pitt. You haven't seen that one, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Carrie.
So many side tangents, but
that's what we're here for.
This is our first time, both of us, seeing this movie.
Yeah, I knew a ton about this because of pop culture reasons. It's just one that you know enough about.
Prom and
Pig's Blood.
Well, I didn't even know
and
Pig's
Magic
Blood
Powers.
Specifically. I just knew like Prom and blood poured on her and powers and prank and bullying. And that was like the extent of what I knew, which is like most of the movie, honestly. I didn't know any of the like side things about religion that was going to come up. Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
A lot.
I was not looking forward to it that much. I was interested.
You were pissy.
I was
he was very, very avoidant. He was not watching.
I don't know why, and I knew of it. I think that maybe in my head it feels like people always say there's not a lot of good King adaptations, and I feel like that's just not true. And I don't know why I haven't seen Misery, but we're going to put that.
The most faithful.
Maybe that's it. Maybe like The Shining is good, but I've also read the book, and it's not really anything like the book. But Carrie was. I mean, awesome. I
didn't read it, so I'm not saying it's a good adaptation. But as a movie on its own, the first It's pretty
It Part
good.
1, yeah. But it doesn't work alone. That story is supposed to be together. It does work. That movie's good, but I have a lot of feelings about that. Are we going to have to watch those
eventually.
2 movies for this? First one's good. The second one
Still haven't even seen the second because you watched it without me.
I want to say like atrocious, honestly, the second one. I really disliked it.
I'm excited. You're selling it.
Not in a good way. Like, just like, I don't know. You should read it. That'd be fun. We could read the book.
Well, I definitely want to do more where we read the book. I was thinking that, like, I wonder what the experience of reading Carrie and then watching it would have been.
Yeah, how different it is.
Yeah. I mean, I know in the book, like, Carrie is supposed to be overweight, and that's part of, like, pouring pig's blood on her. She's a quote pig.
Uh-huh.
So I know that there are things we're definitely missing out on just from that alone, but I don't know how much, and I don't know how much it would change the story.
Do you think they made her not overweight in the movie because, like, American audiences are fat phobic and wouldn't feel for her?
I was just thinking that like, we feel for her.
Like,
she's like this young, pretty girl, and American audiences are shit.
She's like plain looking until they like just pull her hair back a little bit, throw some makeup on, and then all of a sudden she's like supermodel status.
Oh, it's the classic makeover trope. Except she doesn't get like a full makeover. She kind of does it. It's the confidence makeover for her. Not necessarily makeup, but whatever. She's kind
of perfect casting for that, though. Like, I think she just had this, like, vibe, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is, like, a really sweet, like, nice girl, where before she gives that, like, she was, like, kind of scary.
That's why I think her nomination totally deserved. Like, she's crushing it. She really is, like, pretty multi-dimensional in her performance.
I wanted to go back to talk about Stephen King, because I missed something. I wanted to say, I don't know how similar to the book this is, but I will say it hits all my Stephen King tropes. Insane bullying. You get that in every King movie. It has like this kind of weird combination of like sex and horror, which I feel like you see in some of his work. And I think a lot of good horror combines those 2 elements. I don't know why, but we need smarter minds to talk about why like the mix of sex and horror together really like churns people's stomachs. And those are like two big ones that in my head. But the bullying is incredible. And we have some of the best mean girls put to screen in this movie.
Do we?
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're awful. What do you mean? They pour pig's blood on her.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, the level of bullying.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought, like, as characters, I was like, no.
No, I just mean in terms of, like, the level of bullying.
Being a piece of shit, they nailed it.
There are bullies in school that are awful, but, like, King bullies are on another level.
Yeah.
Like, you should, when you read it, if you ever read it, like,
I know,
the bullies in there try to put, like, fireworks down a dude's pants because he's black. Like,
literally...
They're just racist.
Well, yeah, that's more than just bullying.
There's a lot going on.
Straight racism,
But great book. I really like it.
Yeah,
you should read Carrie, and then we can talk. We can do a follow up.
Well, see, my thing is, I really like to read, but I don't like. I like to read corny, stupid shit. So, because it just leaves me feeling happy.
No, I like to read stuff to feel awful.
Well, I also like reading thrillers. I don't mind feeling awful, but like, I don't want to feel scared awful. I just want to feel bad. Like My Dark Vanessa bad, but not scared, gonna shit my pants bad.
I have not felt that way about The Shining or It when I read them. Like, it didn't, like, there were only certain scenes that really scared me in the book. But for the most part, I really just had a lot of fun.
Bro, I thought there was a ghost in the bathroom I was in the other day, and I ran before I even got my pants down. Like, don't mess with me in the fear department. I am a chicken shit.
All right. Well, you'll have to read them at some point.
Although, I will say, this movie, no screams, no hides.
Oh, yeah? So we get counter?
I didn't think it was that scary. I just thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I felt very similar. There were moments of fear, and I should say the moments of fear were like that opening bullying scene with her in the shower really upset me.
I think the interpersonal conflicts in this movie are what's scary. Yeah. It's not horror elements that's scary. It's not the telepathy witchy shit that's scary. It's how abusive her mom is.
And how abusive the bullies are.
Yeah. Like, that is what's scary.
Yeah.
So I guess we can kind of get into it. I mean, you started off by talking about, like, the bullying right in the beginning of the movie in the locker room, and I feel like that's a good spot
Before you get that, we're forgetting something. What? Summaries.
Fuck! I did forget. I was so excited. Right. Oh, God.
You get punished by having to go first.
Okay, yeah.
1 second. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Abuses mom, doesn't tell daughter about period. Girl experiences period in school, gets bullied, and then gets invited to prom, gets bullied more, and telepathy and kills people.
That was 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I could have elaborated.
I don't know how I can say anything more than that. Well, I like to be fast as possible.
It's not a race.
I know, but everything's a race.
But it is a race.
Everything's a competition.
It's a race against the clock.
All right. I want to say let me think, but I just have to go for it. No, I don't get to think? All right.
Yeah, give me the timer. You don't get to think, and go.
Carrie gets bullied. She gets her first period, and it gives her supernatural telekinetic powers. She gets invited to prom where she gets bullied more and then kills all of her classmates and teachers and gets revenge, and she had it right.
Blah, blah, blah. You didn't even talk about her mom, which is like the central core of the movie.
The central core is her getting her revenge, and she's in the right.
I feel
this is another good for her movie.
Obviously, again, we do not support murder on this podcast.
You sure?
But in a film, good for her.
I like seeing bullies get killed.
Her mom deserved it.
Yeah, her mom was her first bully.
But again,
you're right. There were plenty of students that didn't deserve it. I just think it's funny.
Oh my God, what was his name? I loved him.
The guy who takes her.
Yeah, the guy who takes her to prom.
Tommy. No, not Tommy.
I did not write down. I said
he looked like Tommy in the movie Tommy.
Fucking movie.
He's gonna mess us up.
I botched the shit out of writing down.
This is amateur hour podcast right now.
Yeah, this week. This is just a botched attempt, so just maybe skip it.
Are you looking up? No, don't skip. Don't skip. Put it on 2x speed.
But yeah, the guy who takes her to prom.
His name was Tommy.
Justice for Tommy, because
he was great.
He did nothing wrong. And at first we were like, oh my God, is he bullying her more?
No, he wasn't.
But then he just actually was just trying to be a nice guy and giving her a good night.
Well, I thought his girlfriend was in on it, and she wasn't. I was dumb.
Yeah, see, I kind of felt like they actually gave a shit, and they did, and then he died.
Yeah.
And then she gets to live with trauma for doing a nice thing.
Except she didn't live.
No, his girlfriend.
Oh, his girlfriend. Oh, I'm losing my mind. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
I'm now going to give a more prolonged plot summary just so everyone knows what happens in the movie. The movie focuses on 16-year-old Carrie White, who lives with her fanatically religious mother, Margaret. She's very unpopular at schools, often bullied by her peers. When Carrie experiences her first period in the school shower, she panics because she's never been told about menstruation. Carrie's classmates throw tampons at her while chanting until the gym teacher, Miss Collins, intervenes. After arriving home, Margaret, Carrie's mother, tells Carrie that her menstruation was caused by sin, and she locks Carrie in a closet to pray for forgiveness. At school, Miss Collins reprimands Carrie's tormentors, punishing them with a week-long detention during gym class. She threatens that those who skip detention won't be allowed to attend prom. One of the girls, Chris, walks out and therefore gets excluded from prom events. Plotting revenge against Carrie, Chris and her boyfriend Billy break into a farm and drain pig's blood into a bucket, which they then place above the school's stage in the gymnasium. Chris's best friend Norma plans to rig the prom queen election in Carrie's favor to get her on the stage. Meanwhile, Sue, a classmate who's remorseful, asks her popular boyfriend Tommy to invite Carrie to the prom. Carrie believes that the proposition is a prank, but he insists that it's genuine, and she reluctantly accepts. At home, she begins to discover that she has telekinetic powers. Despite Margaret's protests, Carrie puts on a flattering dress and hairstyle for prom. Margaret sees Carrie's telekinetic powers and denounces her as a witch before Carrie leaves with Tommy. During the prom, Chris and Billy hide under the stage, while other conspirators switch the ballots to ensure that Carrie wins the prom queen. As Carrie stands on stage with Tommy, Chris and Billy pull the rope attached to the bucket of pig's blood, dousing Carrie. They then sneak out of the school. The empty bucket hits the outraged Tommy in the head, and he collapses. The crowd is left shocked and speechless at the prank, but Carrie visions that everyone, even Miss Collins, is mocking her. In a sudden outburst, she uses her telekinetic powers to seal the exits and kill people inside. She also lights a fire. She exits the gym and seals the doors behind her, trapping staff and classmates. As Carrie walks home, Chris and Billy attempt to run her over with Billy's car, but Carrie causes the car to overturn and explode, killing them. After Carrie bathes herself at home, her mother, Margaret, reveals that Carrie was conceived via premarital sex, an act that Margaret shamefully admits she enjoyed. She comforts Carrie, but then stabs her in the back with a kitchen knife. In response, Carrie levitates several sharp implements and sends them flying towards Margaret, killing her. Then she destroys the house and dies. Sometime later, Sue, the only survivor of the prom, has a nightmare in which she goes to lay flowers on the charred remains of Carrie's home. Suddenly, Carrie's bloody arm reaches from beneath the rubble and grabs Sue's forearm. Sue wakes up screaming and writhing in terror as her mother tries to comfort her. That is the full summary for the movie. While it's not involved in the plot description, this episode has brief mentions of suicide, so please be cautious with listening.
Okay, so summaries. Done.
Summaries are done.
Okay, locker room.
Locker room. This scene was very scary. That was what I said was what I thought was one of the scariest scenes.
I didn't think it was scary. I just was like, how long do I have to watch this bitch shower?
Oh, that was like, yeah, the first moment of like this kind of like sex appeal combined with horror, like, which was just like her showering.
God. I also
and it was shot. Sorry, go ahead. I'm excited.
It's showing her all naked and like
it's only close up and like rubbing herself
for a woman who hasn't even gotten her who hasn't even gotten her period yet, and we're sexualizing this.
It's a movie though. I know, but the actress is of age.
I know.
It's gross.
The concept is really. I mean,
it's the 70s. Yeah. Not that made it right, but like again, the actress is of age. People are not as conscientious of it.
We don't know.
I would hope so. She was naked in the movie. She had to be of age.
It's the 70s.
I guess.
I don't know what the rules were in
nervous.
the 70s. No, I'm gonna have to look it up.
But it's a lot of close-ups, like very, like kind of weird, like sensual music playing, and then all of a sudden,
she was definitely of age.
You just see blood run down her legs, and she immediately goes like panic mode.
Yeah, she freaks the fuck out. Well, because her mom never told her what a period was. Yeah. So one, she thinks she's just like dying. She's like, "Why am I bleeding?" Yeah. And then
she's got the blood on her hands and is walking up to her classmates. Walking up to
people, like putting her period blood hands in people's faces.
And they're immediately throwing tampons at her.
But imagine you're bleeding and your first instinct is to put your blood in someone's face. Yeah. I was like, Carrie, no, don't do that. But the fact that they then
maybe she did deserve it. I'm kidding.
I mean, I was definitely like, girl, no, you're opening up yourself for like a fragile situation. But then when they start throwing tampons at her, I was like, this poor thing, but also pick one up and use it, please. But like this poor thing. And I was going to say, like, teacher was not saying she handled it the best, but like her intentions, she's the real MVP for like coming in, stopping it, giving all of them detention. Like, I'm not saying that the way she went about handling it did the right thing, because then the retaliation from other students is what leads to everything else. But it's nice to see a teacher actually give a shit when kids are getting bullied.
So I have a note about this that I wrote, which was, I agree with you on all that. However, I feel like bullying in school is just like so interesting, because like punishing those students for bullying just leads to more bullying.
I mean, in this case,
and in real life,
did for one of the girls, and then for another one of the girls.
I think more often in real life, I've seen the punishment lead to just that kid getting bullied more. So it's like teachers will try to step in and like protect that student, and a lot of the times it like results in more harm coming their way. And it's a really like delicate situation. I wish there was like a better way to fix it, but that's just like what I've seen, at least in my time in school.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly in this case, what the teacher does, like she puts them in detention, but then it's also she like
It's gym teacher detention where she just like
makes them work out,
drill
basically,
camp.
which is like way too much and like abusive. And then the teacher literally slaps the one girl in the face.
It was really funny.
Again, not great, but also kind of funny.
It's the 70s, baby.
And then it's like,
teachers could just smack you in the face back then.
This was your first defense, but you're not going to prom for this.
Which leads to the whole setup of she basically just hates Carrie so much that she wants to...
Because she can't go to prom.
So then she sets up this whole elaborate scheme.
She got an entire, like, senior class murdered because she couldn't go to prom.
Yep. Good for her, too. Wow. She almost got away, too.
Nah.
She couldn't have mind her own business. She tried to track Carrie down at the end. Carrie blew her car up. Think about it. She got out.
She deserved it.
Her and John Travolta. I do want to get to that and soon talk about the prom scene, but I think let's talk about Mom a little bit.
So Mom didn't tell Carrie that her period is a thing because Mom sees experiencing your first period means that you've sinned and you bleed because you're a sinner. And, even staff of the school say they're not surprised she didn't know, knowing that mother of hers. And that's before we meet Mom. Then we meet Mom doing some, like, religious shit at someone's house. And then we see the scene where she tells Carrie that she's a sinner.
Her mom is a nut. Absolute religious nut.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's awful. That's the first bully, right?
100%.
Like, putting her in the closet, forcing her to pray. And it's just, like, very clear child abuse. And I think
it's insane levels of child abuse.
But I think this is something that does happen in the real world. We see this with plenty of religions, not just Christianity.
I just watched the Shiny Happy People documentary, which is about the Duggar family, 19 kids and counting family, and how, like, again, they used religion to do bad things, teach bad things to other people, harm their kids. Religion can so often be a great thing for some people, but is so often used as a tool for violence. And that is certainly represented in this movie via the relationship between Mom and Carrie.
Completely.
Mom is also just like...
Mom is maybe needs to be institutionalized.
Yeah, she's also just mentally unwell regardless of the religion.
That is not a right way for me to say it, but in this movie, I don't know. She's a piece of work.
Yeah. She's locking her kid in a fucking closet.
Yeah, to pray.
She also, when Carrie later, and this is skipping ahead, but when Carrie later, like, develops the telekinesis power, and her mom refers to it as Satan's power. And
yet how it's, that's all it is.
And, like, basically, like, you sinned and this is happening because you have this connection to Satan. And Mama also tells her, like, you can't go to prom. They're all going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
And so she certainly sets Carrie out because that's when Carrie's on the stage and sees everyone laughing at her. We don't know if they're laughing.
Yeah.
But Mom's put it in her head. Everyone's going to laugh at you.
Let's jump to this scene because I got a lot of thoughts. And you already brought something up that I want to talk about, which is the laughing. Because I read that scene as that they weren't actually laughing at her and she was seeing that in her head.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way as well? And that it was just all this, like...
I mean, I certainly think a couple of the girls were probably laughing.
For sure.
But yeah, I definitely don't think
most
it's
of the crowd was laughing.
People laughing.
Yeah, I feel like that was the breaking point for her. All this, like, in all this hate that's built up for herself from her mom, right? And from what her lived experience that just, like, led to this snap. And, like, I think she was almost seeing things that weren't there. And I would say, if we're also going to talk about favorite scenes... This has got to be my favorite scene, as I'm sure it's your favorite scene.
Yeah.
And I think it's there's so much fun stuff to talk about in this movie because I think she like finally stands up for herself prior to this, right? Mm-hmm. She goes out and like is getting all dressed up, makes her own dress, is like having a good time. Has a great night at prom with Tommy. And Tommy's like very sweet, convinces her to dance. She has a good time. And then she wins prom queen because it's rigged, right? And the pig blood gets dumped on her head. Mm-hmm. And there's this scene of it takes a while, right? We're watching forever as the rope is up there. It feels like 20 minutes. It's probably like 5. The suspense of where the pig blood's going to happen because we saw that all set up. And it really does take a long time. It's like in slow-mo, all this nice stuff is happening. It's almost very euphoric, right? They do these crazy like spinning shots while she's dancing. Mm-hmm. And then finally it drops. And immediately everything goes red in the room. And they're laughing at you, Carrie. They're laughing at you. She loses her mind. And they do this, Brian De Palma does this awesome thing that I wish more movies did, where he does that split screen, where you see one half of the screen has like Carrie's face and like her covered in blood doing stuff. The other half of the screen has like her actions and like the telekinetic stuff going on, things flying around, and multiple different cuts that just add to the hecticness of just like students getting hit with the fire hose, people getting electrocuted, like everything going crazy. And things catching on fire. I really enjoyed just the hecticness, the tension build up, and then the hecticness. What'd you think?
The split screen, for me, I felt like it was really disorienting because there was like a lot of action happening on both sides, so it was really hard to like focus my eyes. But at the same time, that's what you're supposed to feel.
I was about to hit you with it. That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. That's what the characters that were there would be experiencing in a gym full of people like dying or things exploding or lighting on fire. And so that's what, we're also supposed to feel watching it. So I thought it was cool. I was surprised by it. And then I was like, oh, well, it's the 70s, so they could get away with doing this shit and having it look cool.
And more people should do it. It did look cool. And it would still look cool. You just have to have the right director. Mm-hmm. You have to have the right script, but you can make that look cool. Especially in a scene like that. I'm sure more horror could get away with it.
But then if you did something like that in Marvel, we'd be like, rotten hell.
You know what? No, I probably wouldn't, because I'd love to see those movies take a chance and do something like kind of interesting. I mean, Raimi directing Multiverse of Madness, every time you get a little Raimi flair in there, it was like, oh, this is actually the good part of the movie. I'm having fun. And then all of a sudden it was stripped back again.
It didn't work. But
yeah. So I disagree. I think throwing some actual fun flair in there would be great.
Nah, I think you'd complain.
Maybe. I just am Marvel fatigued and don't want to see any of those movies anymore, so yeah. I'd find anything to complain about.
I also found it at prom, like before the blood bucket scene, their dancing was so disorienting.
Oh, that's what I was talking about before, the like euphoric like spinning shot.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I agree though. You found that disorienting? I thought, it made me like dizzy, but it was supposed to be like...
Maybe I got distracted. Saying that,
again,
so my
I'm
bad.
amateur hour. You're amateur hour.
I said I was amateur hour earlier. I didn't write down the quotes. Who said what? I didn't write down who got up for awards.
This is why I come to this podcast.
I watched the shit out of this one.
If you're looking for something serious, play us in 2 times speed and then
you're in the
leave.
wrong place.
But yeah, I found that disorienting. But I also felt that was supposed to be like her internal feelings, right? Like she's in this new world that she wasn't expecting. She's not like having that kind of euphoria. It felt like a dream, probably. I think that's like the intention, which is really fun. I love when they camera storytelling.
Yeah, I feel like the camera definitely does a lot.
And
they
were spinning. They were on like some kind of spinning thing. They weren't actually spinning that fast, but it's just to make you feel.
Yeah,
it was very fun. And probably also as it goes on, it's more disorienting, which is like the impending doom that we know is coming. Right? It's clever. I like it. Yeah. It's good directing. So I'd say we haven't really said general thoughts and like and dislike, but I think that
we did. We
like the style. We did. I'm saying that's something that we have talked about a lot.
Oh yeah,
is that we like the style. We really like the narrative. I like the characters. I honestly having Tommy not be a bad guy like goes against so many conventions of these movies that it like threw me off, and I really liked it. That he was actually just like a sweet, nice guy and wasn't in on it. It like maybe that's the point. Is it's supposed to disorient me from the narratively?
Well, I also think it makes it a lot more tense because we really don't know what Tommy's gonna
and what his like motives are. Yeah, no, he was.
Just turns out
he was nice.
Just being nice.
He died. He died because he was being nice.
Well, he gets hit in the head with a bucket and passes out, and
then the place catches on fire.
In a fire. But yeah, I feel like by not establishing him, I mean, he's not. He is a good guy. You know that upon reflection, but you don't know that upon first watch. So you see them up there together, and you're really not sure.
Yeah, I wonder.
And then he gets hit in the head with a bucket, and you're like, oh shit.
I wonder if we, like the viewers at the time who saw it, were aware that he was bad, or if it was supposed to be like, oh, we're not really sure. Or if it's just that you and I are used to horror movies, we're used to the genre, so we just assumed he would be bad. Because I don't know what the interpretation would have been when this movie came out.
Yeah, I'd
I
also
really
be
don't.
curious about like reading the book and seeing how he was set up before this.
Yeah. No, I think
as
you're
a
going to have to.
character.
We could do a little book club, book podcast. Horror book club podcast. We do one book a year.
Yeah, that's Matt's reading rate. Mine is like 5 books a month, and Matt gets a book a year.
Yeah, I watched like 5 movies this month. Does that count? Probably more.
So did
Probably
I.
more.
And I also read 5 books.
Oh, look at you. You're such an academic.
And I did wedding prep.
I
I'm
looking at my notes because I keep forgetting to look at it, and I wanted to say that a couple other things I liked. I found this movie like pretty funny, and like at all the right times. Like there was good comic relief, and I feel like that just some of the scenarios are very funny, and like the students are just like dumb high school students. Did you find it to be humorous?
I'm trying to like look back and think if I thought it was intentionally funny or if I was just like, you corny, or like, I don't really know. I didn't really write down anything that I was like, this funny.
Yeah. All right. Those are things I liked. I wanted to talk about the ending because I think that ending was really cool with like the little dream sequence with the one surviving member.
Well, I think you're skipping too far to the end.
What I miss? Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
come in here. Let's talk.
Prom lights everything on fire. Everyone gets stuck in the building. She leaves. Doors closed. Everyone's trapped. So then she's just straight chilling, walking home, covered in blood. Basically, like, beyond the fact that she's, like, walking and moving. Basically catatonic. Like, she's really, like, not there. And on the walk home, the bully girl and John Travolta, they, like, try to
run her down.
Their car.
And then they get blown
like,
up.
You spilled blood all over her, and you tried to, like, ruin her life.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to legit just kill her.
Yeah.
By hitting her with your car. Like, what level of bullying is that where we're just like, yeah, let's just hit her with our car. Anyway, that's not even what I was, like, stopped you for, so that was just a crazy element. She lights them on fire, too.
Yep.
And then she goes home, and so when she gets home, she's like, Mom, and Mom is, like, hiding in her room, all creepy. Carrie goes, washes, like, all the blood off her, so she's in the bath for a while, and Mom is just in the room being a creep. And she comes out and has this conversation with Mom, and she's like, you know, it kind of seems like she's like, you're kind of like you're right, Mom, like, they did laugh at me, it wasn't good. So then Mom starts talking about basically how Carrie was born out of sin from some guy she was dating, and they had premarital sex, and
that's why Carrie is Satan.
And that's why Carrie has
the power and is Satan, and then Mom
is satanic. So then, and Mom, as Carrie goes in to hug her mother,
to just try to get some sense
like,
of, belonging,
love and belonging, Mom tries to stab her.
And then Carrie kills her mom with a bunch of kitchen utensils.
Using her telekinetic powers, tries to, literally kills her mother and crucifies her with knives in their doorway to their kitchen.
I'm glad you brought this up because it is heartbreaking. Like, Carrie's just been rejected, at least in her mind, by everybody, and then the one person that's supposed to show, like, unconditional love to her also then rejects her. And it's, like, just so tragic.
And I was trying to think of, like, what crucifying her is meant to symbolize, I guess. Like, is it just another example of being a like, just her continuing to be a religious fanatic, even in death? Carrie's giving her that? I
did not see much other than they wanted to try to match her crazy bloody Jesus statue that she had and try to make it look similar. And if there's more meaning to it other than I just want to match it, then I'm sorry for missing it. But I don't think I see anything beyond it. Because crucifying her would be like equating her to Jesus. And that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Certainly not.
Yeah, no. So I think it just looked cool. To be honest, I think this is one of those situations. The curtains were blue, because the author wanted them to be. Mm-hmm. I typically don't believe that. We're ruining media literacy when it comes to that. If you're in English class and you're in high school, listen to your teacher. But there's a situation where I do think it just looked cool. And there's not much meaning beyond.
And also, again, because her mom was a religious fanatic, so she can get a fanatic death.
And then Carrie brings the house down on herself. kills herself.
And it's kind of unclear if it's like her power is out of control or she does it on purpose because of all the guilt that she's experiencing from killing her mom and killing everyone. That's my assumption. And because she's feeling so guilty, she brings her mom and herself into the closet where she's been punished before for sinning.
Do you think she like committed suicide? Like, do you think that that's the read?
I think it's really hard to interpret because there's no real sign either way.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. And I kind of like that reading of it because I think that plays into some of the bullying stuff as well.
And I think her mom has already shaped so much like guilt in her and shame, and so it makes sense to me that's not something that's going to go away just because you're able to stand up for mom. And before prom, she is able to stand up for mom, but then guess what? Prom proves her mom right. So it wouldn't surprise me.
This is a mean movie.
That she would then, kill mom in basically self-defense and a range of emotions, but then because of all of the shame and guilt.
Wow. This movie is, I was saying the other week, all the movies we were watching other than Midsommar had like happier endings, and I was like, we need some more mean movies, and this one's mean, and it gets meaner after this because now we cut to, I don't remember her name, the one student that was doing the bullying, that was being nice,
Jennifer,
and tried to have that sent her boyfriend Tommy to prom with Carrie, and she's having a dream, we don't know it at the time, where she's looking at the wreckage of the house and throws down some flowers for Carrie, and then Carrie's hand comes through and grabs her, and then she just wakes up screaming in bed in her mom's arms, having a full like panic attack from survivor's guilt, the trauma of all of her friends dying, and it basically ends with her right in her mom's arms, just like full on freaking out from this.
Yeah, and I think it goes to just it's a really great way to show a differing relationship between mother and daughter than the one that Carrie had, which was so artificial and film full of shame and abuse, versus this mother who goes to her child and gives a shit.
Yeah.
So I think ending with another daughter in her mother's arms, one that cares.
But it's still clear that like she's messed up, and she's going to be messed up for a while.
Yeah, I mean, not have trauma after that.
And I guess I really enjoyed that. I think that that's a really messed up and fun way to like end this movie. Like I said, it's mean. It is mean through and through, and that's fun. That's how horror movies used to always be, right?
Well, sin never dies, Matt. In the words of Mom, and I guess we deserved, as sinners, we deserved a nasty end.
All right, we got through this. That's the whole movie. What's your favorite scene? It's that we said it, right? It's prom. It's pig's
prom.
blood. It's awesome. It's my favorite scene too.
She also acts the fuck out of that scene.
Yes, she's great. Her eyes.
Face, I was like, oh, girl.
All right, give me since we talked about it, what's second favorite scene? You got one? I think mine, honestly, because it was actually what I thought was the scariest scene, was the opening. Them just like torturing her in the shower and her laying like freaking out in the showers. They're throwing towels on her and just like it really like got under my skin.
I thought the scariest scene for me was Mom abusing her for getting her period and like dragging her by her hair into the closet.
That was really scary. Oof.
And again, I think it's scary because it's real.
Yeah, very.
That's a lot of the things in these movies that I think is what's scary is the stuff that's real.
Moms be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. They're being a parent, just the amount of impact you have on your kid, even when you're not deliberately trying to be a piece of shit or like blatantly ill. Like you can fuck up your kid so easily, but especially in this case, you have a mom who's very clearly fucked up herself. Yeah, I don't know what I'd say my second favorite scene is. I think that's the scariest for me, is the abuse from Mom. I would say I did like when she, before prom, went to shit. I did kind of
so happy, I know.
With her actually being happy and experiencing joy that she's deserved to have and that she's earned.
Yeah.
And her with Tommy
Everyone
was actually
love,
being
right?
so nice. And then it kind of like you're...
No.
Sorry.
Someone's walking upstairs. It's fine. We're leaving this in.
It's so creepy. It really does give horror.
Yeah.
When you hear this man walking around, especially in the middle of the night, and we hear these footsteps, and you can hear them clears down the recording. So think about how that feels at 2 a.m. when you're like, who's in my house? It's giving. And now it's starting to thunder. So we're really having...
This is a big amateur hour once again.
The trifecta of horror.
It's all right. We're going. Nothing's getting cut. We're going with this. Finish up. What were you saying?
Basically prom. I just think the suspense is a lot because I was pretty convinced that Tommy was a real one, but I wasn't sure, and so I think it's really suspenseful, and also something's gonna go wrong at prom, so just seeing them having a good time, and then them spinning when they're dancing, the way the camera's spinning, and it's just so suspenseful, and it's...
It's easy to bring you down when they build you up so much, right? So they really build you up even as the audience, and you're just going to be pulled completely down. As I said, this movie's mean. It's awesome. So, what didn't work and what didn't you like?
There's nothing that super doesn't work. I feel like we definitely need to watch something bad so I actually can complain because I am a whiner at my core. A certified hater. And... I just haven't really hated anything because I've deliberately picked things that I liked or thought I would like. And I wish this movie had more that scared me.
That was going to be my only complaint. I think I do like it a lot. I think that there probably was room for it to be scarier.
It's not giving horror to me.
No. And there are moments, but I think it could have probably done more to be scary. And I wish it didn't. I think it would have been I don't want it to overdo it, but I think there could have been just a little bit more. I enjoyed it.
And if any not 10 rating of this movie, because I really liked it. Any reason that it's not really high is because it didn't scare me.
Yeah. No, and I guess let's get to ratings. Ready to be done, right? Got anything else you want to say about this movie before we rate it?
No.
It's a good time. Go watch it.
You have to rate it first.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a solid 8 from me. I think it's very good. I don't think it stands above a lot of other horror movies I really like, and I think it could be scarier. There are things I really like, and an 8 is a great score. I think it's very good.
I was also going to give it an 8.
We're on the same page.
And I normally go decimals, but 8 feels right for me. I think for the same reasons that I feel like it's just a really well done movie, really cohesive movie. It looks great.
It's quick. I keep saying I love my quick ones.
It's well acted. The plot is great. Thank you, Stephen King.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how similar it is.
Yeah. I think as a piece of horror, it's not horroring for me.
Yeah. But it has a lot. There's a lot to like.
Yeah, I will definitely watch this again.
And I
understand why this has the hype it has. And that's why I wanted to cover it, because obviously, we've heard about Carrie a million and a half
I think there was
times.
a Disney Channel original show where they did marinara sauce instead of pig's blood, but I can't remember what it was. It was like a reference to this. They're like pig's blood, and no, it might have been like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I can't remember though.
It could be any of them.
It really could have been like a Hannah Montana or That's So Raven or one of them, but there was like marinara sauce instead of pig's blood.
Let's go Disney Plus.
We gotta find it. We gotta find it.
The whole show, all 3 of them.
I'll say the last thing I wanted to say about this was my last note was that this movie has style, and style goes a long way. Mm-hmm. I think that really adds a lot to it. It has to have a good narrative first. You can't just have style and, well, you know what? Actually, that's a lie. Plenty of filmmakers have proven you can be all style and no substance. So, but in this case, you get a little substance
because style itself can make you feel uncomfortable, and if that's the whole purpose of your horror, you don't really need much of a plot.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'd say watch it.
Oh,
it's a good
100%.
classic.
Definitely watch it. I think even if you can't handle horror, you can handle
you can handle Carrie.
Yeah.
We good? Ready to sign off?
Yep.
Sounds good. Well, I'm Matt Hanna.
I'm Hannah.
And this has been Horror Hour with the Hannas.
Thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone.
We'll try not to be as amateur next time.
No promises.
Thank you for tuning into Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and follow for additional content on TikTok or Instagram at Horror Hour with the Hannas. If you like the podcast, please leave a positive review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!